What is up, Soul Family? Coming at you with this time a financial reading. As always, we're going to jump right in and see what jumps out. So, already we have great vibes coming out for whatever endeavors you are on or working towards. So, it looks like you've already been putting in the work. Yeah, it looks like this is going to be more of like a celebration than anything else. I think this is like a confirmation reading. Alright. Oh, these are like two, I think. We have the Two of Swords, and the Page of Cups. Alright, I'm going to pull a couple more and let's see how this reading finishes. We have the Hanged Man, the Tower. Now see what's on the bottom. And then we have the Oracle on the bottom with all their frustration. I think this reading is a little bit personal. I feel like you are right at the precipice of being able to celebrate something, or maybe you're already celebrating the victories that you have had. I'd like to think that you're right around the corner from it just because of the cards that are surrounding, especially like with the Hanged Man and the Two of Swords. Both these kind of point towards there still being some kind of stagnation or stagnancy, or maybe not really being as much, there not being as much motion as we would want to in certain situations. The Two of Swords and the Hanged Man both have the energies of being stuck in some way, shape, and form. The Two of Swords many times has the energy of the road not being clear, the path not, or the answers not being, I guess, directly in front of you. Where sometimes, we have the answers that we need. We're able to kind of just work with what we got and move forward. Maybe you're right at the edge of completing what you need to, but you just feel like you don't have the answers, or maybe the path isn't fully clear to you yet. So it's like maybe you're just like right at like that last, it's kind of like right before you struck oil, kind of like that analogy. It's like you're digging, and like right before you're about to give up, you feel like you're uncertain, you feel like you're not really sure, and then out of nowhere comes the oil. Or at least that's the analogy that's coming into my head, because going from the World and the Four of Wands to the Hanged Man and the Two of Swords, they're very contrasting energies. And if this is a career reading, it would be very odd to have the World especially pop up when it's a sign of completion and wholeness, if there had not been a good amount of work that is done. The World wouldn't be popping up if there is not the energy of, there being a foundation that's already been laid, or there having been actions that have been taken that would create this wholeness, or this level of contentment or fulfilledness. And maybe it's just a lot of uncertainty and fear. It's like, especially with this Page of Cups specifically, it's almost like she's afraid of what's going to come out. And I think a lot of times it could be a couple things. When we are working towards a lot, there could be a lot of uncertainty on our path that leads to this fear and this frustration. Or it could just genuinely even be the anxiousness of the success that we know we are going to experience, or that we're trying to experience. It could be any or all of the above. Sometimes with success comes stepping into different territories, and it's almost like opening Pandora's box, and we're not always certain about how we're going to maybe navigate those, that new life or that new experience, so to speak. And again, maybe it's just also the fears and frustrations of having to get to that point. It's like when you're opening Pandora's box, it's presumably something pretty chaotic, and without us feeling like we have any clear guidance or any clear guide, then it would be understandable to feel like there is some kind of frustration or stagnation in our way. But a lot of times during these periods that feel like it's stagnant, it gives us the opportunity to kind of, even though it feels like there's not a lot of motion going on behind the scenes, there tends to be a lot. A lot of times our perspective is changing. A lot of times how we think, how we act, the beliefs that we hold are changing as a result of this period of what seems to be stagnation or a lack of motion or movement. It could even be our intentions, how we're approaching something. It could be so many different things that are happening during this period that seems like, there is no motion. And we're just kind of like cursing the gods almost, in frustration with what we're trying to get done. And then even the Ten of Cups, and I'm not going to keep on pulling, but even the Ten of Cups being directly under the Oracle's frustration is a very strong indication of you or whoever being right at the precipice of receiving what you want. The Ten of Cups is an energy of a very strong foundation being laid, and longevity that ensues a very steady foundation. So this is like a longer term level of fulfillment or contentment with whatever effort you are putting towards, whatever effort you are currently putting your time towards. I'm sorry. So sometimes success or the experiences that we have can come suddenly. Sometimes the tower energy isn't inherently a negative thing. Sometimes it's the energy of sudden change and upheaval. And that could be the energy of somebody who, out of nowhere, gets a lot of success. And it doesn't always have to be necessarily a negative thing. It could also be you being pushed into a new era, so to speak. Or maybe it's even a combination of both. Maybe it's the fact as a result of the fact that you've been in this tower energy. Maybe it's because of the fact that you've been stuck and feeling like you're kind of like at the god's wrath. You're kind of just like hanging here and you're kind of just being poked at and prodded. Maybe it's as a result of this period. Maybe it's like out of nowhere. There's going to be like that sudden shift in things that kind of just make everything go a little bit differently. Like you never know what it's going to take. I think one of my best or one of the I think this is like one of the better references when I think about quantum leaping, and I think it's Designer, I think his name was, who had the song Panda. And that song was out, that exact song that blew up and went everywhere and everybody was, it went viral at some point. That exact song that everybody went crazy for was out for a full year on his YouTube, I think it was, or Spotify or some shit. And it just so happened to for whatever reason, pick up wind. So you never know like what seeds you're planting that might just bloom out of nowhere, or might just sprout, or might just pick up. It's like you never know what that tower moment might be, where you're kind of feeling like you're just hanging, and then out of nowhere, something just breaks you free of these chains. And a lot of times, it's your own efforts and your own energies and your own intentions and your own continued persistence. But the point I'm trying to make is, I think you're right around the corner of something great, or at least right around the corner of succeeding in what you might deem to be great. Everybody has, I guess, their own subjective point of view as far as what we consider to be good or bad or our accomplishments, but I think you get the point I'm trying to make. But either way, peace and blessings, everybody. I hope you guys have an amazing night.